I'm the king of the game and I won't be swayed. But there's something that I need, something to push me higher. Talk show Chris Collins and HenricK, they're on fire. They're watching all the rage quitters, exposing them with pain. They keep it gaming real, that's why they get all my respect from me. Rage quit, Chris and HenricK, don't you ever stop. You're the voice of the gamers, blaming rage quitters on the spot. With your wit and laughter, you're the champions we need. Rage quit, Chris and HenricK, you're the heroes of the gaming breed. Turn around the video game mayhem. Chris Collins and HenricK, the rat bring the chaos. Gaming news and industry talk, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal brawl. Mental meltdown, gaming in flames. Chris and HenricK bringing the thunderous rage. Video games and viral content, they're the kings, ripping through pixels, the ultimate gamer getaway. The ultimate. Rave over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news. Industry that can't escape, we're reviewing video games. No need to debate, they bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jails. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quit, rage quit. I'm losing my mind. Chris and HenricK, they're talking gaming all the time. Rage quit, rage quit. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back, ain't nothing else to compare. Rage quit, it's a love-hate affair.
What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
I'm doing great, Chris. I'm here. I'm ready to rage. Are you?
Man, I am so excited. I mean, it's just a beautiful time to be alive, especially with the time change, man. I love it when the sun's out. I mean, us gamers, we're not supposed to be touching grass, but that just means that we can play all the way in the night, all the way to the morning because it's still dark. It's that perfect atmosphere for gaming. And then, yeah, I guess we have some light for the boss, man. Yeah, we all have to get that dinero to get a little bit more extra gaming in for us. But, man, we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. Whether you're tuning in from Twitch, Meta, or YouTube, we can't thank you enough. And just before we even begin, we got these awesome QR codes that will lead you directly to my YouTube channel, this one in specific, and this one, you got to do what you got to do. Go ahead, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show.
And you should know the drill. This is my QR code. Go and scan that. Goes to my YouTube channel. Go watch some videos. Go have some fun, all right? I'm letting you know right now.
And we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. Bungie rolled out a marketing stunt for Marathon that feels less like a game preview and more like walking into a sci-fi company's HR nightmare. And who would have thought that Marathon is actually starting to bleed into reality itself? And so what they did was they built this whole fake tech demo for a biotech outfit called Sakaguchi Genetics, and you only kind of really know who they are if you've already started playing the game. But, you know, this also, right, HenricK, it created a lot of confused visitors. What did you say?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure majority of people walking in there probably don't even know what they're walking into, and yeah, it's a hoot to see what happens.
But it definitely has that ring to like a very high-end tech demo, presentation. So they start to wander in, they see this presentation going on, and then obviously something very unsettling occurs. And because when you are starting to launch a new shooter, nothing builds trust quite like making people question whether they accidentally joined a corporate experiment. And so if you guys haven't seen this funny clip, oh my gosh, let's go ahead and have a laugh.
Oh my god. What the
It's really expensive, so please don't drop it.
Okay. Oh, wow.
What are you doing? Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Did you? Did you push the button here? Or?
Yeah, I did by mistake. I f***ed up. I'm sorry.
This is not good.
This is not good. This shot through the wall.
The guy at the end especially is so calm about it. Like,
I know.
I messed up.
This gave me amazing memories of scare tactics back in the day. Obviously, for some of the newcomers out there that never grew up with that, probably Impractical Jokers would probably be the closest thing to this. But when HenricK, you start to wonder, like, who even thought this was a good idea in this marketing pitch to promote their game? It's either going to create amazing publicity or, people are going to be like still confused on what the hell they're even trying to promote. But that didn't stop gamers.
It's one way to get people to talk about your game.
That's very, very true. And honestly, it got some very funny comments around this. So the first one reads from a meme, says, approved. This post was fact-checked by the real Sakaguchi shareholders. True. So yeah, that's always kind of funny considering they're in the game. They're supposed to be the ones that are, all for this like ancient group focused on resilience and obviously they're the truth seekers in the end. Or are they not? I don't know. Have you played gamers? And then so the next one read, isn't there supposed to be a guy in a hazmat suit there too? And also, you, Milo. So that's always kind of funny. And then last, Xbox, responds to the viral prank with the following. Perfect opportunity for us to grab Bingus and run. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, grab that cat and just make it out of there.
And at this point, we're starting to see now, HenricK, it's just amazing. I thought we were done with this whole Doom thing, but it's not just a classic game. It's basically the final exam for technology. And if a gadget exists, someone somewhere is trying to make Doom run on it. And so now Cortical Labs took that challenge into the biology by training living neurons on their CL1 to play, of course, Doom.
Because why
And so-
not? Of course,
Right,
you gotta
Henrik?
make it play Doom.
We've seen it play on a PDF file, and now we're seeing them do it in a petri dish. And do we really want to see this join our player base? I have no idea. As long as it's in this and not in our Twitchy multiplayer experiences, I think we might be okay for now. Or it actually might beat out that terrible bot experience, because we all know that it's like, I always hate when a friend comes at you, Henrik, and you're like, man, I got a great kill on that guy. And they're like, you know that was a bot, right? And you're like, why are you trying to kill my ego? Why are you trying to kill my ego like that? But apparently the cells play like a... Exactly. And apparently the cells play like total beginners, which is fair because until they recently, this just became their like biggest hobby, or floating around in this liquid. But gamers, when a petri dish of brain cells starts learning Doom, are we watching a breakthrough in commuting or the strangest LAN party ever grown in a lab? And so let's go ahead and take a little glimpse of what the hell's even going on.
Hey, it is very, very impressive because if there's one thing that's always certain, besides death and taxes, it's the fact that we're always going to find some way to run Doom on something new, some new platform, some obscure thing, and now it's this.
Well, you know what this kind of reminds me of too, Henrik? It's like when you used to see a lot of those like musicians and artists grab the Epstein redacted files and they would just use like the black bar to develop a beat, like whether it was going to be the drum, the toms, the snare, to be the piano keys. Like this is like, how do they control the neurons? How are the neurons knowing where to move and when to shoot? Are they just like swimming around this liquid petri dish and it starts triggering certain things? Is that really considered innovating? I have no idea. But that didn't stop gamers from commenting all around this. And sweet, man-made. Horrors beyond my comprehension. Does this frighten you, Henrik?
Hey, in some way, this is the start of the biomechanical revolution, you could say.
Oh, so we've been warned about this before. And then you also get comments that say, I am absolutely certain 100 years of genre fiction has warned us explicitly not to do this very thing, but I'm all for it. Let's try Counter-Strike 2 next. I mean, that would probably be the real challenge.
We've been talking about this in science fiction. This is a very slippery slope, guys. It could go somewhere we don't want it to.
But this petri dish might be labeled a griefer or a thrower, and there might be a bounty placed on a petri dish sooner or later. Because if you're going to be going into Counter-Strike and you're going to be ruining squads and ruining their whole ranked matches, is it really worth the science in the end? And then the last comment reads, we finally made It Runs Doom a neuroscience milestone. The internet stays undefeated. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, these are the same people that use this same technology to allow these neurons to play Pong. So going from Pong to Doom, that's pretty revolutionary,
Pretty good
I would say.
jump, actually.
Right? That's so insane. But talking about, what's also pretty wild that's caught on tape. In St. Petersburg, Russia, 2 officers are detaining a suspect, and while standing right next to them, another officer throws on a virtual reality headset and starts slicing blocks in Beat Saber, because that's the only appropriate way to run, a detained person while they are potentially going to get arrested or not. And so, same room, same moment, 2 completely different realities unfolding, shoulder to shoulder, and one side looks like official police work, and the other, you be the judge, gamers. But it's just kind of something feels like the police officer was discovering VR for the first time. Wouldn't you say, Henrik?
Yeah, I mean, probably just got really curious about how it is.
Yeah, he just couldn't resist having a little quick round. But is that really appropriate in the end? And so, gamers, is this like the most bizarre police detainment ever caught on camera, or the strangest time someone has decided to, hey, you know what? Maybe I should try a little VR right now.
Ну просто вот так не получится.
That definitely is a really just odd scene.
It's super
Just
odd.
have someone being arrested in the same room as, not even if it was just a cop. It's even better that it is the cop actually
Yeah, it's
doing
like
the
it's,
VR Beat Saber.
right. It's like that's your roommate, and he's like, "Well, like we were still having fun, and it's not like I can pause the game. But if you want to help my homie kind of complete the match and get this whole arrest filed faster, then maybe less distractions while you guys are trying to fill out your paperwork." But yeah, it's insane. I mean, like this comment reads, imagine getting beat by the cops and then they beat your high score, laughing out
Ooh.
loud. Yeah, that would, at least in this
The double
video,
burn.
they were playing it safe. Okay, so at least that's one nice thing about this
Yeah.
problematic video. And then the next one is, bro, best thing I've seen a cop do in a while. Oh, okay. So I guess Russia's doing it better than the rest of the world, apparently. And then last, imagine getting arrested for not wanting to kill people. Oh, yeah, shots fired. So what actually was happening is this was a Belarusian, suspect, apparently, HenricK, and Russian police came in to detain this guy to send him back home, avoiding conscription into the country's military, which can carry very high legal consequences. And so be very blessed that you here in the USA or wherever you are around the world, hopefully, don't have to go through what that person had to do who just wanted to complete his high score in Beat Saber. But man, this is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. We can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we just want to remind everybody who hasn't liked, shared, subscribed, hit the notification bell. What are you waiting for? This will lead you directly to my YouTube channel.
And you see that QR code down there, so why not just scan it? It goes to my YouTube channel where there's tons of content just waiting to be watched. So go watch something.
That's right. And we're all just getting started, right, HenricK?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know what, Chris? I think it's time we whip out the keyboards and we start typing because we're hacking the mainframe this time.
Oh,
We're going into those shells, transferring our consciousness because it's marathon time.
That's right. It's time to rock and roll.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Marathon. Bungie is bringing back one of their classic IPs from the grave with this one. However, unlike the originals, this is an extraction shooter. The premise? You're a runner, an illegally operating scavenger sent to explore the surface of Tau Ceti 4. Your consciousness is transferred over to operator shells, each with their own set of abilities. Using these shells, you'll traverse the outposts and ruins of the human colony on Tau Ceti 4, while avoiding the UESC forces opposing your illegal activities. But the question still stands. Pause or repeat? You know, at one point, I almost felt like this game was not going to come out, right? Didn't you think the same, Chris?
Well, I guess the only way to fix that is, HenricK, is just by actually giving credit to the artists who got their stolen art used and abused all throughout this IP, which is now known as Marathon. Who would have thought, HenricK, from such a glorious company like Bungie that have given us amazing titles over the years like Halo and Destiny? Who would have thought? I guess that is just cyber warfare in the end. We're just all kind of copy and pasting everything.
In some respect, yeah. But I am in all ways actually grateful it came out, because this is a long overdue return to this IP. You know, this is pre-Halo days for Bungie, and the lore of Marathon, I love that lore. It's so in-depth, so great, and could easily be expanded upon in this game. But here's the thing that's going to get a lot of people turning away from it. It's an extraction shooter.
Really? So there's
and
too many
extraction
extraction
shooters are not easy to get into.
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, that moment in an extraction shooter where you're like finally found that good loot, and then your heart rate starts to spike, and then
because you want to get out with it.
behind you. Yeah, I mean, suddenly the game starts to feel like a full-blown frenzy, and that's Marathon perfectly in its shell, right? And so like you were addressing, I mean, a lot of these kind of style of games, it seems like, are we being oversaturated with the extraction shooter? Because clearly when you think of Marathon, you're thinking of ARC Raiders, and you were starting to touch
Right.
down on a little bit on the lore and the story. And I think what works for Marathon a little bit better, I would say, than ARC does, because it's not like, yeah, you're gonna get those little codecs and you're gonna be able to kind of, figure out the environment around you and what actually is going on. At least with Marathon, you got these 6 different factions, you got these quests, you start to figure out these mega corporations, and you start to thinking like, oh wow, what are they actually doing to us? Does like one of these companies actually own our souls? Do one of us actually kind of control the electronic grids of our brain? A lot of that kind of stuff can be very, very fascinating. And they're also promising this whole kind of end game experience, the Cairo archive, which is something that Arc Raiders is missing, because I think what you're trying to say, HenricK, is we're barely only like 4 months into this whole new immersion of extraction shooters in a sense, and there's already a sense of fatigue. And that's why I'm going to throw it to you, HenricK. Do you feel like Marathon can actually hold up its end of the bargain and be something that could have a sustained, value for a long period of time?
Well, it's actually interesting you say that it's only feeling like it's a few months of having extraction shooters be at the forefront of gaming culture right now. And it really ties back, like you were saying, to the fact that Arc Raiders is such a cultural phenomenon for people in the gaming space right now. I mean, the numbers of the player count of that game are just still really solid.
Yeah.
Even all, the time that's passed since launch, it's still really solid. It's like, I want to say on Steam at least, hitting like that 300,000 player count pretty regularly, which is actually really good for a live service game that's
Right.
been out for a few months already. But there has been extraction shooters before. I mean,
But
you
it's
can
so
go
much
back
to
to
say, it
even
doesn't
Escape from Tarkov.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. But like, I would also say like Escape from Tarkov, or you can even say along the lines of like Helldivers 2. If you weren't there from the beginning, you missed out. And so that's what
That's
I mean by
true.
the whole like
Yeah.
fatigue thing, because it's like, like ARCs, for example, next month they're promising this whole new map, and it's like, is that really enough? And I feel like that's what's something that Bungie and Marathon is kind of getting a sense of what they're aware of. Like, they're trying to introduce, later on, rank play, and then obviously with the whole end game experience, and also that twist of trying to bring into an extraction shooter a hero shooter element, especially with the 6
little bit,
different
yeah.
runner shells. And did that
Yeah.
work for you? Do you like that idea of having like a tactical, a support, or like like a brute force to choose from?
I know there's this huge stigma of, oh man, another hero shooter game out there.
Yeah.
We have so many of these at this time. I didn't really feel that too much with this one. The whole like rolling of my eyes at the abilities being granted to you through just characters in a sense.
Yeah, we should be used to that by now with like Apex Legends.
Well, it's not even just
And
the fact
Overwatch
of being
and
used to
Valorant.
it's the fact that they didn't really make it that important to have these abilities as much as it is to just immerse yourself in the gameplay and be aware of your surroundings.
Unless
Because it's
you
not going to
start-
matter whether or not you have an ability to get out of a place, like a cloaking ability. if you
Unless
just
you're a
get jumped
really
by a
sweaty
team.
gamer that's using the thief runner shell, and that's using
That's
that
true.
grapple hook that we all admire watching in clips, but not when it's against you in game.
Yeah. I've seen Minblitz doing some crazy things already.
Oh, dude, people are freaking. It's a very sweaty environment in Marathon, and the players are going to be thrown into this like a very abandoned colony of Tau Ceti 4 as these cybernetic mercenaries known as runners, these space scavengers hired by these mega corporations to loot whatever secrets and technology were left behind. And so, HenricK, I want to ask you, are when you play these kind of style of extraction shooters, are you the kind of cautious player who grabs a few things and then just wants to leave early? Or are you the kind of greedy player who's like, time hasn't quite ended yet. I think one more building could easily work out for us. And is that the smart way to play Marathon?
So actually, it's always interesting with how I handle extraction shooters because at the very beginning, it's the same thing that happened in Arc Raiders for me. I was very, very cautious, like crouching everywhere, trying to be really quiet. And then at some point, it just clicks in your head. You're like, you know what? I need to not be so cautious because
Such a
I'm
stickler.
losing. Yeah, I'm like
Over every
losing out
little
on the
thing.
experience of the game in a way, because what I really should be doing is not being so worried about losing my gear, and think about it like the gear is not mine. It's just my turn to use the gear. And if I die, now that next person who killed me might be the one who has that gear for now.
And the
And that
UI
has
menu.
actually
Yeah.
changed my perspective a lot. After a couple hours of playing these games, I just start going around blasting people.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And I was gonna say too, like the UI menu is like incredibly confusing. And
It
when you
is very
first jump into
confusing.
this
You have
game,
to learn it.
right, and you just kind of want to go in and just start grabbing everything. Don't try to learn while
Yeah.
you're actually in a match. Maybe try to do that when you're kind of kicking it in the queue.
Yeah, just
you know, I would
while
say.
you're in queue, go through the items and be like, what is this
Yeah.
item even that I picked up?
Right, because like everything you steal powers you up for your future runs. You're gonna have like stronger builds, cosmetics, seasonal progression. But the catch is simple though, right? I mean, if you die before extracting, the loot goes straight into the space graveyard forever, meaning every run is a gamble. And yeah, extraction shooters wouldn't be an extraction shooter without, stash capacity hitting a limit, encumbrance, all those kind of things play a factor. Clearly, people love the whole solo and the squad elements. With this kind of style of game where you can be, checking out all kinds of different security outposts, research labs, very alien landscapes that kind of remind me a little bit.
I have actually a question for you, Chris.
Yes.
There's several different factions that you get at these contract missions to go
Yeah.
into these maps and do. Was there one in particular that you liked the most? Like the missions from them the most?
It wasn't so much that I liked them the most. I don't know, because it's still very early in the game. I haven't quite finished every single quest, for every single, for the majority of them. But I would say Might is pretty interesting, especially considering how they're
The
like
terrorist
this.
group.
Yeah, right. But they're originally from Mars, right? And then you start to figure
Yeah.
out that they have this whole like deep hatred for the UESC, which is the United Earth Space Council. And then you're kind of wondering like, yeah, they're the terrorists, but like I think there's a lot of terrorists. You're starting to find out real quick.
Yeah,
And like
I don't
who
think anyone
actually
in this game is a good person.
like a good
really.
person, right? Exactly. And I think if we've learned anything from High on Life 2, any of these kind of mega conglomerates, whether it's going after us humans and then trying to turn us into like digital assets, or treating us like pharmaceutical conglomerates, yeah, it's they can get a little risky, especially when one of them, like the Arcane, they pretty much literally control. Oh no, sorry, it was
Yeah.
the new
Arachne.
Yeah, exactly. One of those groups, were like literally control the largest food corporations, and so once you start to figure out
Nutrical, I think.
exactly,
is what their
yeah,
name
that's
is.
the one. I
Yeah.
was having a brain fart. I was about
Yeah.
to say calorie, and I'm like, I know that's exactly what it's not. But yeah, those are really cool elements, and then along with obviously the 6 shells from the destroyer, the recon, the thief. There's a lot of different elements to this game which are really, really cool. You got those, you can mod out your weapons. You got the implants, system upgrades that really do drastically change the way you can play. And yeah, it's going to have the classic Fortnite kind of experience, right? You got the gray to the gold, which is going to indicate those high tier legendary assets. And like some of them have some really cool features that, really can turn your weapon into quite a good gun. That's, I would say, very close to a Leon Kennedy's Requiem.
Yeah, and it is one of those really adrenaline-inducing moments when you find something really, really awesome in a map, and you're just like, oh man, I got to get out with it. I need to not die.
Well, especially when
And,
the environments.
Yeah, and it's so easy to just get jumped by people in this game and lose everything. But that's the whole point of the extraction shooter genre,
Right.
is that whole adrenaline that you're chasing after of getting something, bringing it back, and then maybe being able to use it for a little bit, and then maybe losing it again, and then chase it again all over and over again.
That's also a good feature within Marathon too, but it's also like with a lot of extraction shooters, which Marathon does a good job within their own environment, where it's designed to, constantly escalate in difficulty as you kind of explore those deeper zones, making each area feel like a step further into a very dangerous mystery of a failed expedition. And so, yeah, I mean, you even also have, the UESC marathon ship in orbit, literally flying over you. And so even that kind of looming presence also kind of reminds you of what potentially story-wise could unfold with Marathon. And so, yeah, like, did you feel like that world design actually make you feel like you were exploring a doomed colony, or were you mostly just kind of focused on just not getting shot while looting, HenricK?
Well, being someone that actually knows the lore of the original Marathon games, it was very intriguing to see how they were connecting this game to the originals, even to the point of like, oh yeah, that Marathon ship is still here. This whole, which just for context, it's basically a moon of Mars that they transformed into a ship. So it's massive. And
Yeah.
things like that in science fiction always just, they flabbergast me in the best of ways. Because I'm like, man, somebody made up this idea and it's just so cool. I love to see things like that in this game still being around. And I'm excited to see how they expand upon it, upon the story. Because it could really go in all sorts of different ways. And one thing that Bungie is really good at doing is generally telling a pretty good overarching story. They've had their ups and downs in Destiny 2, and that can be a whole debate on itself, but at least the very early days of Destiny were a good storyline.
Well, if you want to compare it back to Destiny, what Marathon and Destiny have really in common is it's like, where the hell do I even begin? And I think that might be a little bit of a struggle for especially fans that are going to get introduced to the extraction shooter. I don't quite know if this is the most friendly introduction to that genre. But hey, then again, you can run as a rook and not even worry about anything.
The genre in general is not very friendly for newcomers, and this definitely
but
is not.
then again, it's like we all have
friendly
skill
one
issues,
either.
right? That's why we always joke on the show. And so it's like, you never know if you're going to like something unless you try, right? And then there's no doubt that Bungie's signature gunplay is here, and it feels fantastic. Yeah, they're going to have those responsive weapons, the tense encounters, and the constant adrenaline of possibly losing everything, right, HenricK? But those extraction shooters are already a tough genre for those newcomers, and I just kind of still feel like Marathon leans on that difficulty, and whether that pays off for them in the end, we will soon have to find out. But if you're not already comfortable with the formula, the game can feel very unforgiving in a sense. And so I'm really kind of curious now, HenricK, because we've talked a lot already about Marathon, and how you vibing with this? Is this a pause to play something new, or a repeat for endless fun?
So for me, I am really torn on this, but I have to say, at the end of the day, this is going to be a pause for me. And it's only simply because it's so early on that it feels like there's some stuff that they still have to develop in terms of like the story and refining the gameplay loop just a little bit to make it more streamlined, maybe is the word to say here. And if in a few months they actually fix all that, then I probably will change that over to a repeat. But as for right now, I feel like there's other games out there that will still draw my attention more than this one.
Yeah, and the difference too, HenricK, is Marathon has a big end game coming, which we haven't been able to play yet, right? That's the Cairo Archives. That's a raid-style challenge designed for the high-level players that could give the game serious longevity. But again, while it might not be my long-term obsession too, HenricK, I'm vibing with you. It's definitely a game people should experience while the player base is active, I would say, and the chaos is fresh. But for me, it's a pause. But I'll be watching. If it, someone could prove me wrong. But then again, we're going to throw it out to you, the gamers. Is Marathon something you see yourself grinding for years, or is it more of a play it while it's the kind of hype is hot? If you know what I mean.
If anything, this game just has an amazing visual art style to look at. The videos do not do justice. So at least try it to just see what I'm talking about.
That's right. Let us know what's good. But man, we got here so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, we got plenty to talk about. So let's just get started, Chris.
Hey, let's get it. listeners, welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. The new boss at Microsoft Gaming, Asha Sharma, barely got the nameplate on the desk before announcing the next Xbox, codenamed Project Helix. And yeah, as you'll start to see on screen, does that get you excited, HenricK? Does that look like the future of gaming, just with that kind of emblem right there?
It's probably a work in progress, we'll say.
Well, it kind of feels like it's been a work in progress since, like, I don't know, like 2016. But and then again, let's leave it for her to drop this whole big idea that a console can play both Xbox and PC games, which kind of sounds like the gaming equivalent of like knocking down the wall between two rooms and calling it this open concept ecosystem, if you know what I mean. But the real question is whether this pulls gamers back into Xbox orbit or reminds them that they already own a PC that does half the job. And so gamers, if the next Xbox starts to behaving more like a PC, does that strengthen the console or make the console itself the middleman? Ooh, spicy. And so let's go ahead and dive right on into the comments. Asha Sharma, the new head of Xbox Gaming, tweeted, "Great start to the morning with Team Xbox, where we talked about our commitment to the return of Xbox, including Project Helix, the code name for our next generation console. Project Helix will lead in performance and play your Xbox and PC games. Looking forward to chatting about this more and with partners and studios at my first GDC next week." And so, this is a kind of an interesting comment. Obviously, GDC is happening right now, HenricK. And, we're starting to hear just before we were jumping on air that, like, the Steam machine is saying that they're going to have this whole priority system that's going to notify you within their own little console. But now they're calling a mini gaming rig. It seems like they can't make up their minds on what they want to call the Steam machine, but they're basically saying, like, listen, look, we're gonna have it notify you whether a PC game can play 30 frames per second at 1080p. I thought PC gamers always bitch and whine and complain about those kind of stuff. I thought they needed the perfect visuals. Is this just kind of make them so they can leave their sweaty ass, PC chair so they can plop down on a couch where they can maybe lay a towel down so they don't just soil the rest of every other
thing, Chris. All right. So yes, I am someone who believes that 60 frames per second should be the minimum for the majority of games out there, right? 30 frames is acceptable, especially when you're looking at the current gaming landscape and what they're trying to achieve with the Steam machine, where it's a really small device, not a whole lot of power in it, but it's supposed to be able to play AAA games still. And what they're really trying to do is give games that are out now, like AAA games, a target. And the target is hit 1080p, 30 frames per second at the minimum, please, so that the games run decently. And it's actually a big ask for some of these games because some of them are not well optimized on PC.
See, that's interesting.
We'll have to see if some of them actually even get certified.
See, that's interesting that you think that's the target for the Steam machine. I would beg to differ. I would say Valve's target for the Steam machine would be to have every gamer stick to their digital storefront and only stay within their own ecosystem. Why have to join PlayStation? Why join Xbox? Why, join Nintendo?
Well, of course, but
we've already got you so
if
used
the games
to
don't
having
run
your
well
gaming
in the
library
first
with
place,
us. Right.
Then the people who are using the Steam machine are not going to have a good experience. So they just want to make
Fair
sure
enough,
that they know, ahead of time when they buy a game, if that's their platform they want to play it on, what they're getting into. And that's what the whole verified program is. They did the same thing for the Steam Deck, where it was like, hey, just to let you know, the game is not supported, so buy at your own risk, basically.
Yeah, and buy at your own risk also means $900 to $1,000 potentially. Probably not the $700 you thought originally. Especially with this whole memory and storage crunch that's been going on. But we also get a comment that reads, Xbox wants to restore some faith with fans. Bring back backwards compatibility. The 25th anniversary is coming up. Drop loads of new OG and 360 titles. In fact, go one step further and add achievements to the OG games. PlayStation already does it with some of their PC classics. And I would agree. True. That would honestly be a very big draw to win back some of the Xbox gamers, I would say, that are leaning on the fence. Because I know a lot of Microsoft gamers that have been turned off, especially when you have a console that's been 5 years old, and then you would think that it would decrease in value. No, HenricK, it wants to go up $100 in value. And so they're like, why do I want to throw more of my money baggage at you if I feel like the return value isn't quite there yet? So if they add this trophy achievement, if they add this whole backwards compatibility, do you think that would win over a majority of gamers? Because PlayStation can't do that with the PS5.
The achievement side of things, really superficial. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day to, I would say, just the overall experience.
Oh man,
it's nice
I love that. I love that feature on my PlayStation.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a nice feature to have, but what really matters is going to be, if you're looking at these two, the backwards compatibility. If they add that,
yeah, right. That's not so major.
That'll be something that people will really be excited about.
And which should have been a thing now. Like, so.
Well, they have it in some respect, but it's just not to the point that
we can
really
drop your
want
old
it to be.
discs in and it starts working. You know what I mean? They're like, oh wow, it seems like
Right.
you can't read it. What the hell? Why does my CD-ROM seem to be able to play on every other car? You know what I mean? But some reason my video game console is supposed to be way more high end. Can't do it. Wow, crazy. Come to figure. But then you also get this comment, which is a meme that says, booting up the next Xbox console to see it has ChatGPT built in and will play the games for me. So everybody's still fearful.
It wouldn't
for
be
all this kind of thing.
ChatGPT. It would be Copilot, because that's
It would be
Microsoft's
Copilot. Yeah,
branded AI.
so burn, sucker. But yeah, like, I think there's no doubt that Copilot is going to be in this console. Wouldn't you think, HenricK? They've been talking about it for a while, but even PlayStation and Sony said that they want to get gamers to stop going to YouTube, and they want to keep you in-house in the console and show you tips, you know, by a click of a button. Hit the PS button, you want to see the tip thing that you're stuck on your Requiem task in Resident Evil 9, we got you. But people are now fearful for this when you get lost in the concrete jungle of LA and you need Siri, you need Google Maps, and now we're worried about AI? I mean, I don't know. I just think this whole, like...
Well, considering how much that the Windows side of Microsoft wants to push Copilot, yeah, most likely, especially even now when the CEO of Xbox went from having a position in core AI, yeah, no, they're definitely putting
that's
AI
true.
in that new
Yeah,
console.
right. And that obvious. That's true, HenricK. That's true. That's obviously going to be a major fear. But I would say the fear would be where, like, some people got the Windows 11 and they get the Copilot installed to their PC rig, and then all of a sudden they're finding out that, like, why is everything starting to slow down? Like, all my optimization was, like, perfect beforehand, and now, like, everything's, you know, getting kind of kooky. Watch, there's going to be some guy that's going to figure out how to remove the Copilot from, you know, this Project Helix,
They
and
already
it's
do.
going to run faster.
They already do. I do it on all my Windows installs that I do for myself.
And then the last comment, you'd be an absolute fool to purchase another Xbox console. So yeah, you know, there's clearly people, HenricK, I feel like, you know, with this whole next Xbox, it's starting to kind of lean more into this whole PC gaming thing. And again, is like that the smart evolution for the platform, or just the moment that gamers are realizing that the lines were already blurred?
Well, the unfortunate thing is they are having to win back a lot of their fans that left the platform because they felt like Xbox wasn't really delivering on the promises of being this mecca of gaming like they used to be in the
selling out all
360
your
days.
exclusives to everybody, and, you know, and rumors
Yeah,
of Starfield
and where did the
potentially coming to
exclusives go?
PlayStation.
They
Yeah,
went to your competitor,
right.
PlayStation,
Yeah.
and they went on PC. So a lot of people actually switched over to having a PC, maybe, and then if they didn't have a PC, they'd probably have a PS5. So at this point, you're having to win those people back, and I guess, yeah, you know, if you're looking at it that way, maybe it is kind of smart for them to just say, yeah, well, you know what, the new Xbox is going to be able to play PC games, so come back. Well, it's got to be a good deal to come back then.
Yeah,
like, price-wise.
and I think Xbox still has, you know, obviously they're trying to convert people to try to get into the cloud gaming space, right? And so with that in mind, you know, with their subscription service, you can play PC and Xbox gaming. And that's really, really cool, because we just were reporting last week, you know, even with Sony, and about how they want to retain their exclusives, you know, moving forward. And we really don't even know if Wolverine's going to be launched on the PC now on day one. And that's a really interesting move, considering how they want to follow what Nintendo Nintendo's doing, especially with their iconic, like Mario and Zelda IP. They're like, yeah, it was kind of cool to explore, but it wasn't really quite adding up, financially for us in the end. And if we want to kind of, retain Supreme in a sense in this kind of overdeveloping world of now you got the Vita Go and you got, Epic Games and you got all these different places to be able to acquire different games for, yourself. Yeah, everybody's going to try to acquire that digital storefront, and who really wants to come to them? And yeah, they're going to have to win that trust from the fans. And I feel like Xbox might have a little bit of a leeway in a sense, but in the end, it's going to be the overall price tag that's either going to sway you or not. Because, dude, it is quite remarkable. I couldn't imagine, HenricK, being a 13-year-old today. And, when we were growing up and it was like, okay, cool, I can save up some money and $300 will get me the next console. And then it was $400, $450. Now it's $550. If they're really anticipating a whole down payment on a car for a console, it's going to be a tough sell, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. That is the unfortunate thing, is the pricing is what matters. And if it's going to be several $100s, then a lot of the people who would be your audience to come back, like you're saying, like the 13-year-old, 14-year-old kids who want a console to play on, they're not going to.
Well, every parent would love to give them a console, but they're just not going to do it. And they're definitely not going to give you a gaming PC because they're thinking like, I got to now monitor you on what you're checking out on the World Wide Web too, along with video games. So like that's another risk as a parent. So I get it, and so that's what's unfortunate. And so they're kind of like exiting people out, and that's why I truly believe smart TVs will get a little bit better. Xbox, Microsoft Gaming will have their storefronts, I'm sure, more available on Amazon Sticks or wherever you like to, do your gaming. If you have the bandwidth power for your internet. Again, we haven't quite figured that out, but that's kind of where we're going. And yeah, we'll have to kind of see what's good. But until we kind of figure out, more details around Project Helix, this is where we're going to lean it towards you, the gamers. This is the question. If the next Xbox is leaning into PC gaming, is this the right move for them? Or do you kind of see this platform that is, onto something that's completely, entirely not what they were on day one? Let us know what's good. But HenricK, this is kind of wild. I mean, who would have thought that someone's going to be messing with their wallets? Break it down.
Well, buying a new game used to be simple. You just open up the PlayStation Store, see the price, and everyone would have the same price, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, now you can't necessarily say that. Well, because Sony is reportedly testing dynamic pricing. And what does that mean? It means that the cost of the game that you see and that you're seeing on your screen might be different than what your neighbor sees. Might be different than what your friend sees. And it means now this opening up of the PlayStation Store and seeing the price of a game turns into a mystery box. So, yeah, the test has saved some players some, not having to pay full price for some games. Maybe,
well, sure, yeah, right.
And when you're in that position, sure, yeah, you'll enjoy this. But does it really feel good when all of a sudden you walk into this digital storefront and you have to question whether or not you actually got your good price, or if you got a higher price than your neighbor? I don't think so.
Okay. But
So we'll have to see where it goes. But gamers, if two players can have the same store open and it's different prices, is that just a clever deal system, or is it the beginning of everyone having personal price tags assigned to them for everything? That sounds more dystopian to me.
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive right onto the comments, because I know a lot of people had a lot to say. Oh, look, we don't even have the comments at the moment. Yes, we do. We always have backup, because there must have been obviously a little bit of a glitch. So let's take over the screen, shall we? Dynamic price should be illegal. HenricK, should it be illegal? Clearly, you see right here in euros, there's 375, and then the other one says 9.99. And yeah, when you start to see that Sony is testing dynamic pricing in the PlayStation Store, does that get you excited? Does it not? I mean, clearly you said it in the monologue. You're very skeptical about it. Why would you be skeptical about that?
Well, it's just it feels scummy. It really feels like the whole sort of tactic that stores will do where it's like, "Hey, this is on sale," and "Hey, it's been on sale the entire time that it's been out." Does that not feel scummy as well? To the same
But
like level
if
of
I'm
that?
saving money, I don't know why I would be complaining. But I do get where
But are
like
you
you know,
really saving money, Chris, is the question. Or is it an
well,
illusion of saving money?
it's always going to be an illusion of saving money, and you have to be the smart person to retain your dollar bills or not, and know when something is actually a valuable sale or not. I mean, we got dumbasses today that are paying $15 for in-game skin cosmetics, HenricK. So, like, when they start
Or
to
20.
introduce like dynamic pricing, and they're starting to say like, "Hey, listen, look, like you might be interested in this game," and they start pitching it like a $60 game that's $5 games, you're gonna tell me a game that you were eyeballing for quite some time starts to show up on a 90 to 80% discount, you wouldn't be like a little bit triggered to be like, you know what, I might click it. But I think the one thing I would agree with you, which maybe the dynamic pricing should work to benefit the people that actually support those digital storefronts. Like if Sony is trying to encourage people to start buying more digital games and less physical copies, which they've been slowly removing over the years, they should be rewarding the people that spend more into the storefront, not the people that don't
I see what
spend.
you're saying there.
You know,
Yeah.
then that kind of sounds like a cool dynamic pricing.
You're asking for more of like a rewards sort of system, though.
But
rather
that's
than
how I
just,
think
like,
that
dynamic pricing.
right, but then people will still label that as dynamic pricing. Like, wait, what? Like, I just got into it, man. Like, why is this person blah blah blah? But then again, we want to hear from you, the gamers. Do you find this problematic? Will like more people start to pick that up? It seems like we might have a comment
Chris.
here.
Like I have a. Oh, go ahead and you can read the comment.
Yeah, we got one that says dynamic pricing also include DLC purchases. They make enough money. I'd be so mad if my boys got the game at the same time and saved more money than me. It doesn't seem like Zachoman Gaming that they're pushing it towards like new IP. It's like you saw, for example, on screen was Assassin's Creed Unity. Other ones that were going viral was a wife and a husband, and the husband had to pay the full $60 or whatever for the Red Dead Redemption 2, and then the wife had to pay like $10. And he's like, man, my babe wants me to save money, which I'm with her, but the lure of having the trophy achievement, HenricK, I want that for myself. I don't want it to progress on her account. I want it on mine. And so that's where it becomes a little bit of a stickler in things. But then let's also check out this comment. It says, variety priced by region. I get that. Economies are different from one country to the next. Variety prices assigned randomly to different users in the same region. Scummy as hell. Should be exposed and rebuked. And I think that's obviously a fair thing to consider, but the problem is, like you said, HenricK, you could be in the same household. One account's getting showing something different, the other one's not. So it's like, even that comment doesn't quite hold up to what would be justified.
It's different
in a
than
sense.
like what you were wanting, kind of suggesting they should do, where it's like, hey, if you are supporting these storefronts, here's a little like 10% off of a game, something like that. Like, I pay for, an example of that working, I pay for Humble Bundle every month, okay? And because I've had that subscription for 12 months or more at this point, I get 20% off, up to 20% off of games that I buy from their store. And that's just a nice little benefit. Saying, hey, here you go. Thank you for having a subscription with us.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound scummy, right? But the dynamic pricing is scummy.
Yeah, but and this is why it becomes so problematic, because I am a PlayStation 5 gamer, and they just got rid of their reward program, where it's about to end real soon. It was called PlayStation Stars, and sometimes you would complete some like quest in game, or maybe there was a new game out and you just purchased it. They'd give you a little bit of credit, and then luckily you might be able to accumulate enough money to get a $5, $10, $15 PlayStation gift card, or potentially a $10 indie game that they're highlighting in the mix. And now that's completely gone. And so with that's gone, it's like there's no reward incentive. They're pushing for this whole dynamic pricing. That's why, yeah, HenricK, people like I get it, like yourself would be side-eyeing it a little bit, but you also get this comment. Oh, you bought 10 games in the last 2 weeks? Damn, you must have money. Here are all the games on the store and are now $100 for you.
Yeah,
And
what's
so,
stopping them from doing that to you?
right? Fair enough. And then last comment says, Sony straight up said they were going to extract additional revenues from their existing install base to account for increased cost in memory and storage. When people tell you who they are, believe them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And yep, HenricK. And that's the thing. And that's where, these personalized price tags, is this like the future of digital stores? Or is this a slippery slope for game buyers? And we're just going to have to find out. I mean, we are slowly entering that era where we're going to have multiple digital storefronts. Why do you think Epic Games has been pressing, Apple and Google for the last couple of years? They all want all the revenue share to go directly funneled towards their faucet, if you know what I'm saying.
It sounds, this whole thing, though, sounds very dystopian, does it not?
Yeah, I'm with you. But then again, it's like I don't know if anybody has the real answers to this. I mean, I think this kind of mechanic needs to be played out a little bit more. We'll see. I mean, there's been reports that like Live Nation and Ticketmaster have done this before with concert tickets.
Oh yeah,
and
they do it all the time.
You know what I mean? And so that's what's always really, really shitty and scummy. And so, like, I would advise Sony, if you're watching, come on, guys. Like, if you're going to try out dynamic pricing, I don't necessarily be in a product, but turn it into a reward thing. If you want to help, the people that are supporting your digital storefront or throwing in money, you should be rewarding them, not the people that are like, I haven't even tried anything yet. No. That's where I personally feel like it's not cool. But then again, HenricK, I'll let you have the final note, and then we'll start to get things rolling.
Yeah, this is just, if they really roll this out everywhere, it's not going to go well for them. They're going to get a lot of bad press, I believe, from just people calling them out on their bullshit, really.
Yeah, it's been hiding under the shadows for quite some time, quite like the Batman in the Gotham Knight. But gamers, that's for you to decide. Would dynamic pricing feel like a deal, or like the store is sizing up your wallet? Let us know what's good. But as we keep things rolling, holy cow, seems like pricing is the main topic in video games today, because over in Fortnite, the in-game economy just got a financial advisor, and apparently the first recommendation was tighten the belt. And what do we mean by all this? Well, Epic Games says, the cost of, running the whole game has gone way, way up. And so while the Fortnite Battle Pass now costs fewer V-Bucks, which, sounds generous until you notice that the rewards from, the bonus content section got trimmed down so much that they're basically finishing everything now, equates to 800 instead of that 1,500 V-Bucks that you all got, that you would all love to spend on extra cosmetics in the store. Well, apparently that means that spending power is now going into, what would you call it, HenricK? Loose change in the couch cushions? Which is
not even that, just money under the bed.
Right, and then it's like, if you don't even get to all the way to level 100, you lost out on your $800, and that's a shitty thing. And so it's like, what's going to draw gamers in the end to even want to continue to play Fortnite, in a sense? And so gamers, when the Battle Pass gets the cheaper, but the rewards get cut in half, is that a deal or a quiet nudge for the gamers to maybe you guys need to spend more, even though we are already a $7 billion company? But let's dive right on into the comments, because the first one reads, this change makes 100 V-Bucks cost about $1.12. The SpongeBob Sidekick cost about 1,800 V-Bucks, which would be $20.16 at this price. Previously, $16.18, meaning the SpongeBob Sidekick cost a little more than Hollow Knight Silksong. $19.
A whole game.
99 cents.
By the way.
That's why I'm saying, where I get a little frustrated when people are bitching and complaining about the whole Sony dynamic pricing, and then you get literally twiddly-do gamers out there that have no problem throwing $15. It's just as bad as the youth of sports betting getting so out of control today. I mean, my gosh, it's like I saw Pat McAfee talking about how he spent $5,000 to hope that USA was going to beat Italy because the odds were in his favor by like plus 1,100, HenricK, and then to only get less than $500 on a $5,000 bet, and then you lose it all because Italy kicks their ass. These kind of things are very, very infuriating. And HenricK, what are your thoughts on all this? When basically Epic is saying we don't have enough money to pay the bills now. Doesn't
Yeah,
that like startle you?
that's a bunch of bull.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys
crazy.
definitely make a bunch of money.
Yeah,
Where's the
clearly.
money going to that you're saying you're running out of money? Come on, guys.
It just flabbergasted me, especially when you get these corny ass, Fortnite pets that they've been doing, and the fact that they even justified it to even be $16 previously when it should have been like more like $5. I would say crazy indeed. But then again, that's the world that we're living in. But then you also get a comment like this. Last year in October, a gamer named Justin responded to a tweet from Fortnite status that read, "Those rumors aren't true, and the price changes aren't happening." With Justin responding, forgot to add "yet" to the end. And gamers, if you can look at the tweet.
That did not age well.
That was 5 months ago. 5
Yeah.
months ago. Oh my gosh. And HenricK, if you thought that was hilarious, well, you gotta love these classic memes which read, "Never ask a woman her age, a man his salary. A Fortnite fan, March 10th, 2026. I mean, in the US it was March 9th, but that's really funny to consider that there are people across the pond that it was already in the next day, they were feeling the effect of like, holy cow, this sucks worldwide. And then the last comment, which I think is hilarious because this is a screenshot of a gamer, responding to Epic's justification for price changes with the screenshot of this headline not too long ago. Oh, wait, was that January 2025? With the CEO himself bragging, Tim Sweeney saying that Epic is losing billions fighting Apple and Google because it can afford to. Jokes that we might run into serious financial problems after a couple more decades. But yet we need to increase the V-Bucks because we can't keep up with paying the bills?
Yeah, they can afford to do it. But
It's
then when it's convenient for them to have the narrative that they can't afford to not raise the price, then all of a sudden they're the little thing on the street asking for alms. Come on, man. Like you do not need these handouts.
Yeah,
you make
I
tons
just
of money off of Fortnite.
because I think what's really important, HenricK, is it's like if Fortnite trims rewards like this, how long before every other multiplayer game starts adjusting the math too? You know what I mean? Like just to justify their own back end. I just find
especially because they are, Fortnite is a leading, I would say, force in terms of like the battle pass and monetization for games. Whether you hate them or not, they're popular, and a lot of other companies will follow suit based on what they do.
Yeah, and even with the backing of Disney as well, you're telling me that Disney's getting bankrupt too, and they can't help with Epic Games to be able to allocate to help pay the bills. I mean, this is what's so insane with this whole era of the whole sandbox interactive, and we have to be so careful with putting our money where our mouth is. And I would highly advise every gamer that plays Fortnite. I'm a very big fan of Fortnite as well, but I will not be paying for the season pass next month. I am protesting. I'm protesting, Henry. I'm not doing it until they can change their ways and revert back to their old, previous route. Why would anybody want to support this? They feel like throwing in Save the World for free is a win for all of us gamers. By the way, HenricK, Epic's not only doing this with Fortnite, they're also doing it with Fall Guys. I used to love Fall Guys. You hear me talking about Fall Guys anymore, HenricK? How long has it been since I've talked about Fall Guys?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time because they killed that battle system previously. Now they're doing this with the whole, V-Bucks currency transaction. And that's why it's just so frustrating to want to, support these kind of people. Yeah, Battle Pass is a little bit cheaper. Oh, but once you complete it, you're not going to get a little bit of extra currency to be able to throw into your store to be able to grab an extra skin. No, we want even more money from you if you want to continue to support us in the future. I don't know. Maybe gamers are cool with this. I'm absolutely not. I'm definitely rage quitting Fortnite right about now. It pisses me off. It really, really does, HenricK.
No, it's totally fair. I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't play the game, but I feel for the people who have been playing the game because this ends up feeling like a slap in the face, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like, dude, no more Fortnite concerts. We do not want Fortnite concerts. If that's what it means by paying the bills, we don't need another Fortnite concert. Oh, if you want to play movie trailers or a movie and you have to pay the movie license to be able to play it inside your sandbox, no, we don't want it. We don't want it. You want to turn it into a Mark Zuckerberg meta store, and you want to walk around the Disney park and go say hi to Mickey Mouse and buy a T-shirt inside your sandbox? We don't want it, okay? We don't want it. So, like, you need to stop. Get rid of all those shitty game modes you've been doing. Get rid of Legos if you have to, if that's going to help pay the bills. Get rid of rocket racing. Okay, I'll stop, HenricK. I'll stop. Oh my God, it gets me so bad. But gamers, are we watching one game rebalance its economy, or the start of a trend across live service games? Let us know what's good. But all right, HenricK, this wouldn't be Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show without us talking about gamers, and the threads that go down on Reddit. So break it down.
Of course. Well, a thread over on Reddit has gamers confessing the gaming habits they once adored but now treat like leftovers in the fridge, and they just keep ignoring those leftovers. They're rotting away.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's like eating your favorite child. It's like eating your favorite childhood snacks and thinking, man, I'm too old for this crap now. It's basically everyone's collectively admitting that what once sparked joy in their lives now sparkles just an eye roll or two.
That's how I feel with the big bag of hot Cheeto Puffs. I miss you every day, but my acid reflux can't handle it. And I think I've moved on from those days. It just doesn't quite hit the same. Is that what you're talking about, HenricK?
Maybe a little bit of that, yeah.
A little bit of that, yeah. I mean, I guess this is quite open-ended of a question.
Yeah. So gamers, the question is, what's something you used to love in gaming that now makes you immediately just have to back out and be like, nah, I can't, man.
Yeah, I think that's very much a real thing. And so let's see what gamers are saying online with the first one that reads, games that are basically a second job. Keep putting hours in or else you'll fall too behind. I no longer have
This is what Chris says every time we cover a Souls-like.
Yeah, that's true too. And people are also experiencing this with extraction shooters as well. I've had buddies, or Nade Shot was going viral because he forgot to clock in for the expedition in time, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I thought I missed out on that. I guess I'm going to be playing Pokemon instead." But you're right. I mean, it is, dude. We all love a good Elden Ring, but like sometimes those kind of style of games really require you to be like totally immersed and.
Well, you gotta lock in, is what it is.
Yeah. And I can lock in. I got no girlfriend. It's like I got no problems like that, no distractions, and so I should be able to be like immersed. But for some reason, I lose patience very, very fast. Does anyone else feel that same way? But let's keep it rolling because we got another comment that reads, anything that is competitive, I lost that drive long ago, with the follow-up comment that reads, man, it hurts having that realization, but I feel it too. I just don't have the energy for the ultra sweaty hard shit. And so, yeah, it's kind of like we were discussing with Marathon on Pause and Repeat. Might not be for everybody. Might not be the best introduction for a newcomer. Every game is starting to get a little sweaty. And I think a lot of the problem, too, HenricK, is like we got too many IG reels, too many YouTube shorts, like exploiting every little game mechanic and every style of multiplayer game where it's like,
well,
remember when you just
everything
just
gets figured out in the first day of a game coming out, or content in a game coming out. Like everyone just meta games everything and figures out this is what you got to do the best. Yeah. And if you don't do that, then you feel like you're missing out almost. Man, based on the FOMO you feel from these reels and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you also get gamers that say, playing on the hardest difficulty, with the follow-up comment that reads, oh God, I feel this. I love a challenge. I'll do challenging things in games, but I've gotten to the point where sometimes it's just not worth the time and stress for pride points. This is actually hilarious to me because I feel that. I really, really do. I feel like the breaking point for me was playing God of War Ragnarok. Those pain-in-the-ass little side areas, I'm blanking out on what those guys are called right now. They always take forever to take them out. I gave up. I didn't want to be a perfectionist anymore. I really tried. I really, really did it. And I was like, I'm cool. But do you feel that way? Do you always start every video game on the hardest difficulty and then slowly trickle down to what feels right to you, HenricK? Or you just kind of like, nah, I kind of know my go-to. I like a normal. I like a good hard. Not the hardest,
honestly,
but I like hard.
Honestly, it really depends on the game. If it's a game that I know that I'm really good at that genre or that series, I'll be like, you know what? Let's bump it up to the highest. I'm gonna have some fun here because I
used to
actually
do
know
that
what
like
I'm doing.
I used to do that like all the time because I felt like I needed to get my values worth in the game that I just purchased. Maybe that's the problem with cloud gaming today. You just don't feel like, oh man, I spent that money. I need to do everything, Henrik. Now that it's like, okay, I'm paying a
Hmm.
prescription, I got too many games. I'm like, I think it's time to move on. These pride points don't really mean nothing to me in the end. But then you also get comments like this: multiplayer online battle arenas. I can't stand to play for 45 minutes to an hour plus, to try hard and then still lose, but feel like I exhausted myself while having absolutely no fun. This is after 7,000 hours of League. I don't know why I played it that much. Ranked is a toxic grind. Yeah,
That is a lot of hours in League, my friend.
yeah, that's a lot of hours. I
Maybe a
don't do
little
the
too many.
yeah, I don't do the whole league thing, so I don't relate to all this. There are days where I kind of wish I had Age of the Empire experience all over again, or maybe StarCraft. But now StarCraft doesn't want to do what they used to do. They want to be a first-person shooter now, apparently. But you know what? Sometimes change is good, or sometimes change creates nostalgia, right? And then you
Yeah.
also get comments like this: multiplayer games. I've had enough with the toxic people and being dependent on your team, which continuously fails you. I'm at the age that most of my friends, and me included, have kids and limited time playing games, and I don't want to waste it to hear someone tell me about my mother's sexual life. Well, you don't like proximity chat? I think proximity chat is probably like the greatest gifted thing for online gaming. I love those
Well,
experiences,
at the
dude.
same time, though, I get what this commenter is saying.
He didn't grow up
I
during those
know
Call of Duty
that,
lobbies. That's what he's showing his age.
but at the same time, I know there's a lot of people out there who are getting actually really just burnt out with the whole multiplayer push for things, whether it be live service or not, really. And it's just like sometimes you just want to go play a single player game.
Yeah.
Just play it, enjoy it, and then move on.
Sounds like
Not
a
have
person
to
that's
yell at people or get angry
yeah.
at someone else.
And there are so many good single player games out there right now. So the fact that
Yeah.
you having a hard time, not finding a game for you, it sucks. I get it. Obviously, you want to have a multiplayer experience without someone calling you a dissing track or whatever. But there is a thing called the mute button. Just saying. Also, grindy looter shooters with the follow-up comment that reads: does Arc Raider fans, fall under this category?
Kind of. I feel like the looter shooter genre is like the progenitor of the extraction shooter.
I
Like
would say
the
it's a
extraction
looter
shooter is a
shooter.
child of that.
Yeah,
Child
it is.
subgenre.
Right, yeah, right.
So
Oh,
yeah.
so it's oh my gosh, why am I? It's like Death Stranding, you know what I mean? It's just it's the whole, you
It's
just kind of
well,
it's,
no,
it,
Death
it,
Stranding is a Strand type game. That's the genre that is.
right.
That's from Kojima's mouth himself.
Yeah, right. You're like, yeah, don't ever do that comparison again. Damn you, Chris. But Henrik, what part of gaming did you once embrace that you've completely outgrown?
So for me, this definitely has to be MMOs or specifically MMORPGs, just because there's such a huge time sink and there's so many good games out there. Single player, multiplayer, doesn't matter. There's so many out there that just want me to play them and that I actually want to play, where I can't spend the same amount of commitment that I used to when I was really, really in like middle school and high school, playing World of Warcraft like 10 hours a day, grinding out my character levels to
Right.
get to max. And then finally, when I am at max level, spending the same amount of time just going into dungeons and getting gear. Like, I can't spend that time. And the value doesn't seem to have the same impact to me as
Well, that's
opposed
not-
to let me jump into playing like an hour or two of Deadlock or some other game and have an amazing time, even if it's not a winner or anything like that. I'm still gonna have a much better time quicker than I will with an MMORPG.
Yeah, you know, they have those same problems even with world design. I know Ubisoft has been very vocal about that, you know, trying to test it out with Assassin's Creed Mirage, and then because Valhalla was a little criticized for being a little too massive in a sense. And I know Crimson Desert's already getting like early reviews out there right now saying that it's really, really big, and it's
Yes.
it's really
It looks
kind
like
of
it.
yeah, right. You know what I mean? Especially we got all these dragons and these open atmospheres and everything, and it's kind of it's apparently one of those kind of style of games where they're not going to be holding your hand. You're just going to have to kind of roll around and kind of figure it out. And we once loved that with Fallout, but there was something about Fallout that really quite nailed it. And I'm kind of with you in a sense. A little bit of some of these modern games haven't quite nailed that magic that we all once loved and adored during our junior or high school or college days. And yeah, I think that's a really big thing. I think what's definitely kind of outgrown me, unfortunately, is like racing games. You know, there hasn't really been a really good racing game that's quite captivated me with the boys. You know what I mean?
You didn't like the Sonic racing game that came out?
I think
heard
it's
that was
fun.
really
You know,
good.
I can play that with like my nephews and nieces. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about with my boys. You know what I mean? Like. You know, Rocket Racing was trying to do its thing, and that's a super lame. You know, you got a Mario Kart World, which those are full of sweats, and that whole stupid Tony Hawk mechanics, which has totally completely killed the thrill of that whole experience. And so it's like, can we get a good racing game again? But
Maybe it's time to go back to Double Dash, is what Chris is saying.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's go back to Double Dash or something. We need like a really cool like vehicle style of game. Like, even if it's not a racer, we need Twisted Metal Battle Royale. We need something. Switch it up, okay? We're like we were saying, we're fatigue is real with a lot of these genres right now, and so that's all I'm calling for. But then again, I want to throw it to you, the gamers. What gaming trend did you once enjoy but now can't stand? Let us know what's good. But man, this has been a massive show. We've had lots to discuss, and we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And whether you are tuning in from Meta, YouTube, and Twitch, I mean, we can't thank you for the love. But this QR code, for anybody that hasn't hit the notification bell on YouTube, this will lead you directly to my YouTube channel. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, screenshot it, and you'll always be notified when we go live.
And you see that QR code down there, so why not just scan it? Where does it go? It goes to my YouTube channel. So there's tons of stuff to watch there. Go watch some videos, have some fun, leave some comments. I'll be waiting and looking out for them, okay?
That's right. But man, we can't thank you, the gamers, for always jumping on. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you soon, fam. Peace.
See ya.